It's Hockey Fights Cancer Night here at TD Garden. The Bruins wearing those beautiful lavender jerseys that they're going to wear in warm-ups as we see the alternates come into the room. They've got a tall task. The whole team does, obviously, and they've all got to click together as they try to snap this 5-game losing streak. And with that, we're going to welcome you into our beautiful Wasabi Studios presented by Jordan's Furniture. Sorry, guys. Sophia, Billy, and Barry here with you. Guys, it's no secret that the Bruins are on this 5-game losing streak, and they've got to get out of it. It's the little details Marco Sturm that was talking about earlier today at Morning Skate, the little details that add up and become big things. The Bruins got to get through that.
That they do. They're finding different ways, not good ways, to lose hockey games. My biggest concern was my concern going into the season that the first 3 games, Billy, I felt a little better about, which was their team defensive structure. Mm-hmm. Then they went out west. And listen, when you're playing Colorado and Las Vegas, that's a tough task. But having 3 and 4 nights and then traveling, you knew Tuesday was going to be tough. But they've been outscored in these 5 games 21-14. They are allowing 4.2 goals against. That, to me, has to be the focus.
No question about it. Listen, I think that they have to play a very tough way all year to be competitive.
Yep.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, meaning sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? Yep. All right. But it's a hard way to play, and I think that you can get mentally tired at times playing that way. With that said, because almost you get frustrated. They're not offensively gifted. We've talked about, Marco talked about the start of the year. It's no secret. You know that, partner. Yep. But that doesn't mean that they sometimes, I almost think they have to, instead of pressing so much just to score, just live the fight another day, shift to shift type of thing. I feel like they're having breakdowns, and I think mentally and then physically they're getting worn down because it's so hard at times for them, and they're pushing so hard. And then when they start making, this is the thing that's starting to bother me because it does remind me of bit guys like last year. They make one little mistake, and it starts being a few more here.
Kind of?
Yeah. And here's the other indicator to me that they're working so hard to score goals, right? And instead, like Barry says, defense most important thing, right? How many times on the last couple of games that they scored a goal, they've gone like this? And what happens within 2 minutes?
Either they take a penalty or their opposing team comes back and scores. Yeah. Oh, you ask me this question, sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying when I answer.
But Sophia, to me, though, to your original part about playing Anaheim here on a Thursday night, you'd look at the schedule normally and you'd say, okay, that's a game. No. This is a big game. Because you do not want this snowball to keep getting any bigger. You've got to end it. And the way that game ended on Tuesday with, how many seconds left? 26 seconds left. Yeah. Oh, just deflated the whole building and the team. You could feel the frustration in the room afterwards.
Yeah. Well, they should have been.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's take a look, though, at the numbers. You guys just talked about it, but their first 3 games over the start of the season, and then their last 5 games after that. +5 goal differential, as you can see. -7 power play, penalty kill. Marco Sturm spoke about everyone getting on board.
We have good people in our locker room. We just try to find everyone. We try to add pieces and get them on that bus. And we still need everyone. And right now there's still a few missing. So that's my job, and that's our job moving forward, to get everyone on board.
All right, guys, this morning we had our morning skate show, and I thought Judd made a really good point about whether Marco Sturm has his team bought in or not. And he said, absolutely, you can tell for this reason. Many reasons, but you can tell for this reason. When they do go down early in games and they've had those losing streaks, the way they come back and the way that they're competing until the end. You'd like to see it for the full 60, but he's not losing them after 2 periods. In fact, it's the opposite. Maybe it's not a great start, but then they're buying in a little later. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely no issue with what head coach Marco Sturm is doing, and I don't think the players have any issue with that whatsoever. I think that he communicates with them. They respect the heck out of him, given his pedigree and how he's trying to make this a better place, a better team. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. And it's not that they're not listening to him, but sometimes I think they're not. They want to do the right thing at times, and yet I think every once in a while it's like, like at Colorado, we saw those turnovers, those giveaways, and like, because, again, I think they just mentally lose it a little bit, Barry, given how hard they have to work.
Yeah, and the beauty of being a consistently good defensive team means that you're in every game for the most part, and it also means that your players are showing up because, to your earlier point, it's not easy. So you have to be mentally ready to go. I mean, just for an example, we'll use Patrice Bergeron. What made him such a consistent player? It was the fact that he was so good defensively, he had to get into that mindset and show up with that intensity every single game. And that's what made him so great.
All right, guys, let's take a look at the expected D pairs for tonight. Hampus Lindholm not on that because he's a game-time decision, but he was skating with the extras after morning skate. So
doesn't
probably
feel like he's going to start the game, or play this game. Mason Lohrei, Charlie McAvoy remain a pair. Zadorov and Peak. So Zadorov bumps up to play with Andrew Peak, and then welcome back Callahan back up from Providence playing with Yoki Haru. Listen, Nikita Zadorov has been their best defenseman game in, game out all this season. Peak has had some very solid efforts. Lohrai's been incredibly inconsistent out there. And then, I think kind of the same could be said at times for Charlie McAvoy.
Absolutely. And I think one of the difficult parts about this, Billy, when you get into a streak like this and you're trying to be better defensively. And again, we always talk about that also means the forward's got to come back. But you've got to take away ice. You've got to go and attack as a defender. You need confidence for that. What happens when you lose your confidence? When you're coaching those young kids, what do? They back up, right? And as soon as you back up, now you're vulnerable.
Yeah. Obvious statement here. I mean, Hampus Lindholm, they need him back. But there's obviously a little something. He looks good out there in practice.
Yeah. But it's like Razor said, you don't want to be that player that's constantly in and out. When you come back in, you want to come back in for good. But that's hard when you're in a 5-game losing streak.
Right.
You need him, right?
Yeah, and I think that they're doing their best as a team, to not say we really need you back because you're just 9 games into the season.
Right.
But they really need him back.
Yeah, and this is also one of those types of games that you would like to see the forwards get together and say, hey, listen, we don't have Hampus. We lost Harris or whatever, Let's try and help our defensemen out tonight. Let's don't turn the puck over in the neutral zone. If there's no play at the blue line, what's the fourth line been doing? Getting it in deep, line. Get the energy going, get the forechecking game going, play north-south. Be responsible with the puck. That's what you want your forwards to do, and hopefully that will take a lot of the pressure off your defense as well.
All right, guys. Hot Takes presented by Wasabi Technologies, the official cloud storage partner of the Boston Bruins. And we are taking a look at Mason Lohrai's game in the last one. He got caught a couple of times, exposed. He said on Wednesday, you can't even take half a second off in the NHL. How does Mason Lohrei make adjustments?
Well, I think that, as we talked about, look at giving up space here, turning the wrong direction. Now all of a sudden it's these little things. Here's a loose puck. You've got to be strong on that, man. You have got to lay in because these guys are strong. They're veterans. They got to here. You've got to lay the lumber. You've got to get a better edge in the neutral zone. You can't allow the opposing player that much space with that kind of speed.
No way. And, Verhaeghe gets the stride. Luostarinen, beg your pardon, gets the stride on him. And you can see Mason's frustration as he breaks his stick. And that's, you know what? At that point, quite honestly, so I wouldn't mind him breaking his stick on Luostarinen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Take the penalty
on a leg or
right
two
there. Why not? I mean, it's a simple game from up here. But, you can tell that he is struggling with his reads. You can tell that he's kind of struggling sometimes in the battle. And sometimes that, he's right, that half second is all it takes. We saw 2 years ago against Toronto and Florida in the playoffs. I felt like, now granted, he might be playing different scenarios, but those were playoff games, and he was really, really, remember how really good he was. He needs a reset. He needs to get back to that and just say, I'm going to play the right place. I'm going to be always above the puck or below, not going to be letting guys get behind me right here. Easier said than done, but I think it's a mindset thing. And I think he has to just say, I'm going to up my compete level in the battle.
I agree. First of all, it starts with the compete level, being strong, as we said, on those one-on-one battles. And he's so gifted of a skater and has big mobility for a big guy. To me, if he just goes out and concentrates totally on playing defense. Mm-hmm. Defensively, as Billy says, on the right side of the puck, taking away your gaps, controlling the layers. I just feel his offense will look after itself.
Yeah.
It should.
Yeah.
It should. Yeah. But if you go out there and you try and get on the offensive side, now you're getting yourself in bad habits.
We will sacrifice. I think we're speaking together right here. Right, partner? Come here. We don't actually speak together because we'll sacrifice his offense right, for the defense. And just like Denny Potvin used to say to me all the time when I was working with the New York Islanders, when I met him, and he's like, few hundred games, 250, 300, like for a defenseman to even have an idea of what they're doing out there. That's how hard of a position it is to play in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I'm sure that's been the message from Marco Sturm to his young defenseman, Mason Lohrei.